This is Christoph Yalik.
This is Just Janet.
And this is K. Colley.
And this is
the Just Nuggets Podcast.
Let's go, Nuggets. One is the loneliest number
that you ever knew.
that you ever seen.
One is the loneliest number.
We don't have copyrights to that song, guys.
No, we don't.
Without further ado, this is the Just Nuggets Podcast. I am K. Colley. On the microphone, we have Christoph Yalich.
Uno más.
We have Just Janet.
Just Janet's here.
How's everyone doing?
Great.
Hey, our Denver Nuggets
They
Are
were
one
have been
game
fabulous.
away
Wow.
from having the Larry O.B. come chill here in the Mile High City,
That'd be
a.k.a.
great.
Denver, Colorado.
And it might even take a trip over to Somborg, Serbia for a little
It
bit.
Yeah.
should. It honestly should.
Yeah.
If
Let's
it
pinch ourselves.
doesn't, if the Larry B doesn't, definitely the Bill Russell Trophy will be
Yeah,
on there.
yeah.
Ooh.
Let's pinch ourselves. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not that a pinch. This team's been good all year. This podcast started with the episode number 1, championship season.
Championship
So it ain't
season.
pinch ourselves.
Nope.
It's just
Yeah.
it's been kind of
Long time coming.
long time coming, and it's been a trial, the trials and tribulations to get to this point. Not only from the history of us being Nuggets fans, but the season in general.
Yeah.
Thinking back to March when they were getting smoked by the Bulls and the Nets, and they were struggling. The Knicks got them at the Garden.
You mean when we took a break at the end of the month of March?
That's how it looks now. But
Feels
in the
like it.
but in the moment,
Felt
it
like
felt
it
like
then.
the Nuggets were struggling,
Hmm.
and in all intents and purposes, they were. And then
I mean-
aided by hindsight, it's only kind of. But in that moment, they definitely were struggling. And now you see that they were just getting their rest, and they come out in that Minnesota series. They kicked arse. And then they went to Phoenix.
Yeah.
They got Phoenix done in 6, which right now is seeming like the biggest test they've had thus
Yeah,
far.
it feels like it.
We'll see if Miami's gutty. So I don't. This could be.
You skipped the one.
I know because it was 4 games and didn't really mean
Lakers,
much. Yeah,
yeah.
that was a quick one. Quick work, light work.
Well.
It was light work.
Ah.
It was what did Windhorst said it was the
Nah.
closest sweep they've ever seen.
Oh,
Oh, it was
whatever.
a beautiful sweep.
Yeah, beautiful sweep.
No, Windhorst said it was the closest sweep. It was such
Yeah,
a
it
moral
was a
victories
moral
on the
victory
Lakers.
sweeper.
Actually, the Lakers morally beat the Nuggets 4 games to 0.
Really?
They
Yeah.
beat us down. Morally, they beat us in every department.
Yeah,
Because we only won those games by really,
Yeah, it was close.
It was close, and
yeah.
they could have went either way.
Coulda went either way.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All
4
right, well-
times.
Let me
4
ask-
times
let me
straight.
ask you
4
this.
straight.
4
times.
straight.
The Nuggets are up 3-1.
Yeah.
As Nuggets lifelong fans, what does a championship mean to you, and what does it mean to the city?
Oh, everything. I think it means. I mean, when you have a team that's been here for 47 years, and we just haven't ever got this far at all.
They've been in the NBA that long.
That
They've
NBA,
They've
yeah.
been in Denver.
Yeah. Well,
50
yeah,
plus.
yeah, and we haven't gotten to this point at all. And then the blessing in it is that we get here with a strong team, a really good team. Because you can get here, plenty of people get here, but they don't get past it. And if we, one more game, if we can get past it, we could really give them their due, their credit, and their flowers, because it would mean a lot to this city. We in fact, we've had all kinds. We have 4 major. I'm going to say that we have others, but we have 4 major sports teams, all the big ones, and everyone is won except for a
I was
few.
The worst one.
We have 2 teams haven't won. The
Yeah,
Nuggets
2.
and the Rockies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 of them still, yeah. I would say, to answer your question, Dot, Jay said everything. I would say I don't necessarily have a word. It's just I never thought this day would come, and it still hasn't come yet. So it may never come. It just is like that. I would actually live to see the Denver Nuggets win a championship. I know it's been like Maul, and when it became a reality, it was like 2020. I was like, okay, this team's actually there.
Pretty good, yeah.
And then they made that AG trade, and they were the best team in the NBA
Sure.
for a
and
handful
they
of
didn't
games.
miss any. Remember, they won all their games until Jamal went out.
And then
so.
he was gone, and it just was like that sinking back to being that type of Nuggets fan.
Yeah.
And it's like surreal. Surreal's the word. And it's just kind of funny to me. I was talking to someone who's been season ticket holder since the 70s yesterday. and they were talking just about like how it's crazy, how the transition and like the progression of being a Nuggets fan has just been up and down. Mainly down, but and then every so many years in the 80s they had some ups, in the early 2000s and throughout the aughts they had ups.
Yeah.
Then they had some downs in the early 10s, and then in the late 10s they had some ups, and we've been in that trajectory since. I just think that it's just crazy to see, and it's been evolving with it. It makes me laugh because Denver's such a transient city.
Yeah.
So many new people coming every month, every day, really, to move here. And a lot of people come here and they get absorbed into the city. So to answer your thing, what does it mean for the city? It's kind of funny because you have like all these new Nuggets fans.
Sure.
Like people who
We'll take them all, though.
People who moved here from Kansas City or
Bandwagon jumpers?
Las Vegas.
Come
No, bandwagon jump.
But
They're coming from places that didn't have a team.
Oh, okay.
And they come to this city and they started going to the games because it's a fun night out.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then if they came here in the last 4 or 5 years, the team's been good.
Yeah.
So the whole time they've only known a good team, like a little
Good for
child
them.
or something. You
Good
know what I
for
mean?
them.
So it's great to see that. But it also is like, it really means more for the people like you, Jays, or Pops, or the lady I was speaking with yesterday, or the people you'll hear around town who've been in the trenches, us and our friends who've been in the trenches with the Denver Nuggets our entire lives. And it's finally like, it's so close.
You're right
so
there.
close.
Right there.
Sniff it, huh?
You can
Right
sniff
there,
it, but they
yeah.
gotta say they haven't done anything yet.
Nope. They haven't done anything.
Because if they lose the series 3-4,
Stop it.
you're gonna be like, dang it.
You know what? Can we not talk about this? Because come on, when you go up 3-1, I know Denver has reverse done this.
Yeah,
to
and
two
I was
teams.
gonna say
I get
that.
it, but we've done it, in the bubble to the Clippers.
I was gonna
and
say Jokic said that actually. He said
Yeah.
that point. He's like, we've been that team.
Yeah.
We know what it is.
to be able to do that.
And everybody
yes.
knows, we've said it throughout this entire season on this pod, that the hardest thing to do in any sport,
Close somebody out.
not football, I guess football somewhat,
Sure.
but like definitely in baseball, hockey, a series, playoffs, basketball, is in someone's season.
Yes.
And winning that fourth game, especially against a team like Miami, they're gonna die hard. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's gonna be the toughest game of the
But
season for them.
but
Honestly, I think the Nuggets gonna win in Game 5 in Denver.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do agree.
I do too.
I get the reservedness that you all
Yeah.
are coming with, and I reserve that for the team. Like the team has to be locked in. They don't need to hear any
but
of
us fans.
anything we say, anything the media says,
Sure.
anything ESPN says. They don't need to listen to any of it. They need to, as Mike Malone said, think about it as if they're down
3-1. Yeah, the other
But
reverse.
for us as fans, we know what happened in Game 3. We know what happened in Game 4.
Yes.
We saw how they were trapping Jamal Murray. They were trapping Joker. We saw how they were breaking out of it. We saw how our others had to step up and have big games, like AG with his 27.
Sure.
We saw Bruce Brown with his 21. So now they've tried a whole bunch of different things on the
Absolutely,
Nuggets,
they
and they're
have.
starting to see that nothing truly works.
well,
And
two
that
things-
kind of goes to the point of us being a championship team that we've
Yeah.
said this whole year, and really, really being a team that's hard to stop.
Well, two things happen when you get this deep, and this deep. After playing 4 games, you only have 3 left, so you're on the other side of that middle, right? What happens is that you know the team now. You've seen just about everything they could throw at you, and if they haven't thrown at him, shame on you. Okay, so we've seen it, they've tried it, they've done it, and we've prevailed. Okay, so that's what my hope for. I had hope before this because I said they were going to sweep them, and should have. Nuggets.
They blew the game too.
They blew game 2.
And that's half the reason I think they're going to come back tomorrow
Yeah.
and win, because to them it's not even about we need to close up this finals, even though that's obviously number one. I guess I should.
Do you want to get
restate
beat on
that.
your home court
They're not
twice?
they don't want
in
to
a
be beat at home
series?
twice.
No,
It's actually this game is very personal.
It should
to
be
them.
personal.
Yeah, it's like y'all took a game from us. We want that back.
We
and
want
then
that
you end the
back.
series, and then
Yeah.
you get to go be
And
champions.
God knows they don't want to get on a plane and go back to Miami.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean, how
Yeah,
does that?
it's
You
not-
don't
it's
want
like-
to give. You don't want to give teams light. You don't want to
No.
give teams.
It's not a fun trip.
No.
You know what I
Happened
mean? That's a
with-
5-hour
yeah.
flight that you just don't want to do to go play in a game you don't want to
And if you happen
be
to
in an
turn-
environment you
yes.
don't want to be in. You know what I mean? So it's
And if you happen to turn on the television or the radio, like Michael Malone said, don't do. But if you happen to turn them on, they're gonna be ripping you. They're gonna be like, "Oh, the Nuggets. We thought they were this, that, and this and that, and they can't even win on their home court." And this Miami Heat team has beat them now twice. Who's the best team? I mean, do we have to go through that for 2
Because you'd be like,
days?
they don't want to go back to Game 7
Yeah, they don't
on
wanna-
that court. That's advantage
You know,
Miami.
Miami's done this to everybody. I mean, we don't want to hear any of that. We have the opportunity tomorrow. Today is Sunday. Okay.
June 11th.
June 11th. And we have the opportunity to get this done. And I believe they will.
I say right before we go into game 3 and 4 a little bit, just talking about what's happened since Friday night.
Sure.
I do want to just say it's been a pleasure to do this podcast in real time and talk about the Nuggets and see how they've evolved over this whole season. I know Chris alluded to at the beginning, we talked about this being a championship season, but to really walk each game and kind of talk about our frustrations here, our happiness here, this lull here that Chris was talking about in March, and to see this team continue to rally, continue to fight for it, and now to be in a position you're one game away, you can't take that for granted.
No,
you can't act like even though I was saying as fans we can say whatever, as players you gotta be locked in.
Yeah, you.
And I truly do think they'll be locked in.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets actually, it's kind of funny. They still haven't given. Their game 4 was probably the best they've played as a unit.
As a unit, yes.
This entire series,
Yeah.
which bodes well because obviously you
unit.
want to get better and improving. But they're kind of winning in spite of like MPJ not having good games.
Because so you're saying we haven't seen that perfect game where everybody's on,
And I think that'd be
we
sick.
may never.
Like, that'd be sick to see it in Game 5 at home.
Yeah,
and
sure.
like you guys said, neglecting. Everyone's kind of saying it, neglecting the closeout. You know what I mean? Like think of it as in a silo of if you're Coach Malone, say think like you're 3-1.
Yeah.
Or Joker says respect the team that's across
Sure.
from you.
Protect
Or
home court.
or Maul
Protect home
says
court.
Maul says job's not finished. You know what I mean? It's everybody has their approach at it.
Yeah.
Even us, we're here. We're like saying in their season.
Yeah.
You got to take this as for what it is. As you took Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4. Same goes for Game 5. It doesn't matter if you're up 3-1, down 3-1. Win the game that's in front of you.
And you know the best way Nuggets have been winning when they do win? They first of all, they hold them to under 100 points. Because I think they had 93, 94, 95, not in that order. But those are the score, those are the
Three
points.
of the last 4 games.
Three of the last
they've
4.
held 100
The one,
points.
yeah, right. So the one we lost is the only one they went over 100, and we lost the game. So number one thing, do your defense and keep the scoring down and your turnovers down. And if you rebound, keep your turnovers down. Do your defense like you've been doing it to hold them under 100. That's the recipe to win the game.
Yeah, and the issue with the Heat all season, this is not just this 5 games, 4 games thus far, is that their inability at times to score. And to beat the Nuggets, they're going to have to score 110. I heard that number, and it literally remains consistent. Because if they would have swept the Nuggets if they score 110. That should be their goal.
Woulda,
Not,
shoulda,
I mean, it's.
coulda.
I mean,
That's
I'm
it.
not saying that you should have a scoring goal like that, but if they get to 110, they're in a good spot.
I think it also
But the
just
Nuggets, to your point,
playing
have
great
been
defense.
all 3 of their games. They've held them under 100. No,
Yeah.
only game they didn't, they lost.
Yeah.
When
So, there
you
you
got Jokic having 3 steals, 3 blocks, the Nuggets are just lights out on
Yeah.
defense.
Uh-huh.
And if you
That
watch
was in that
if
game.
I
That was in
watched some
game 4.
breakdowns of like just the way KCP's chasing people down
Sure.
around the course and the switches. The
Yeah.
Nuggets are just playing lights out defense,
Yes.
and that's a big difference. But let's get into it. I think we missed game 3, so I just want to do a shout out to Jokic,
And
Jamal Murray, the first duo in NBA history to have 30-point triple doubles in the NBA.
In the final.
In the NBA
No,
in
in
general.
NBA.
Yeah.
Any game ever.
Ever.
Yeah, in the history of the NBA.
Right, in the
Ever.
history of the
But it
NBA, but
happened
in the finals. There you go. So they'll have dual.
Then Jokic is the first
Records.
person to ever have a 30-20-10 game in the finals. It's his 3rd of his career. He's had 2 this year.
In the playoffs.
In the
In the
playoffs.
finals. But I'm saying this is his 3rd this year in the playoffs. I mean, this is his 2nd in the year this year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Third total in the
Third
playoffs.
total in
Third
the
of his career.
playoffs.
In
Yes.
the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
Then you had Christian Brown. He had the rookie showcase game.
Oh gosh, he was
Had
wonderful.
15 points.
Amazing.
And was an absolute hooper dog that really set that
And we
Nuggets
needed
team
it
up
from
On
him.
7
on
of
that-
8,
on that
too.
bench.
And
So,
had a boom. Like
Yeah.
that steal and the dunk
Yeah.
out.
had
He
it- he-
presented so much
yeah.
energy.
I was
Yeah.
saying he ran into Jimmy Butler, got the
Oh, that was
and one. He
amazing, too. I love
feeling
it.
He was
Uh-huh.
feeling
You know
it.
what's funny? I think in both, we'll go into game 3, we'll go into game 4.
Sure.
But speaking of that moment, I think there was 2 moments over the course of those 2 games that like really sunk the momentum of the Heat, where it was like they know, Nuggets know, their fans know, fans watching know that this game's over. I think when CB did that to Jimmy and got the and one, that's what it was like. That's the game's over.
Well,
and then in game 4 was when Yoke rolled his ankle, they left, and he comes out and the first thing he does is hit like a 30-foot shot. That's when everybody in the building, everyone watching, everyone on the court is like, the Heat are in trouble.
Well, when you have a rookie playing like that that brings you energy to your whole team, and others are like, hey, if the rookie's getting his, we need to get ours. Just that competition internally, whatever motivates you. But I would say if I saw a rookie coming off the bench and giving it his all, that's like, I'm mixing metaphors here with football. In football, when you see your quarterback, like we saw Elway when we won the Super Bowl, doing the spin move, getting into the end zone, which is now a classic. And you mentioned that, the helicopter, whatever you want to call it, people know what we're talking about. I think that moment there was that for this team, when you see your rookie putting out his all on, leaving it on the court, and you like, I got to get mine. I got not get mine, but I need to do my best to get this team over.
Well, that's what I really love about this Nuggets team is that you have 8 players that are all putting on. Like Christian Brown, even though he hasn't had the best playoffs, he erupted in that game 3. Well, I should say offensively he hasn't had the greatest playoffs, but defensively he's been there.
Yeah, defense he has.
Been good. But then you have, and then in the next game, you have Bruce Brown and you have Eric G going for 20-plus points. So you're seeing 8 guys. And then Jeff Green hits clutch threes.
Yes.
So you're saying you have a group of 8 people that are going in, playing for each other, protecting it. And that's just a unique stance for what the Nuggets have and how they've been playing all year.
And then I heard Michael Malone talk about when they brought in Reggie Jackson for like a minute and a half or that. And somebody asked him about that in the press conference or somewhere along the path. Somebody asked him. And he said, let me say that, he didn't say it like I'm getting ready to say it. I'm paraphrasing. But he said, everybody, when I asked them to come in and get in there, they're going to give their all. And I needed him in there for Jamal to get some rest that day. And so he can get some rest. If he could get a minute and a half rest and then come back and do what he does, we needed somebody off the bench to do that, and that was it. So if you're in there a minute, if you're in there whatever time, play your role, do what you're supposed to do, and you contributed, and that's all. Whether it's a minute or it's 40.
Yeah, and that was in the first. That was game 3 you're talking about.
That was game 3, and Jamal needed rest then because I think that's the game where he hurt his hand. He has that big gash, ripped that skin off. And,
that was a 30, 10, and 10.
Yeah, that's 30. So of course, he needed some break. Break.
I know this is a stat that's been said a ton, but he's ironically, I have to throw the word ironically in there as a Nuggets fan and a Mall fan. Ironically, he's the first person, guard, player, otherwise, to have 10 assists in his first 4 career games in the finals, in his finals debut, which you don't think of Maul as being the passer and the facilitator, even though he's the point guard.
He's growing in front of our face.
He is.
Well, I know we're going to talk about that.
His
but
game
has
evolved
into what it is now.
It is,
and it's perfect game.
And it's funny because his game is the most metamorphic of you get the Jokic is just consistently great. He does everything, high IQ, great passer. He's pretty automatically from the field, like 3-pointers included. Like he's the unicorn from Serbia. He's the man on the hill. Sure. We all know about Jokic. But Maul, he can kind of beat you in a gluttony of ways. His game kind of morphs to the game presented. And going with adding those two to the duo. I mean, it's improving throughout time. It's improving, yes. Because I think in the bubble, it was the first time you saw. No. I was gonna say that San Antonio game.
Bubble. That's what I think.
That 2019 playoff run.
Yeah.
Because you're 100% right. When he won, I think it was Game 5.
Against San Antonio.
I know, but I'm specifically Game 5 when they were on the road and I think they're trailing the series, and he went there and he had a nutty second half, like latter half of the third and a crazy fourth. But his game is evolving and starting to shapeshift, and that goes super well with Jokic, Mr. Consistent deity that he is. Because when you pick somebody, he's just going to do this. Jokic is just going to remain consistent. And you have someone who goes with the flow of the game and adapts on the fly to what that is. That's a perfect Robin or complementary. Remember, we already went through this. I think the Nuggets have a Batman thing going on.
A Batman thing?
Instead of Batman Robin. I guess Robin is Maul.
Yes, of
but
course.
Sometimes he could be Batman. He could.
Yeah. I mean, when Robin would be the leader sometime when Batman was getting,
by nature it's called partners in crime, so they both can get going when they need to.
My thing is this:
drop the DC.
humor me really fast. If say Maul goes to a new team or a team without Jokic.
Heaven forbid.
No, I'm just play with me on this. How many team as he is the leader of the team? How many do you think they're a playoff team?
That's not enough information for me to even speculate.
Say he's like Dame Lillard type on a team where he's the guy.
Okay.
He may have Yusuf Nurkic as his center, maybe Cancer.
Well,
see,
and
the thing-
is he?
but see, one person.
Is that team a
of course,
playoff
you know
team?
this, Chris. One person can't do it, and two can't do it. You need others. You need all of it to get a championship.
But here's why I asked that is because
So-
I know that without Maul, Jokic gets his team to the playoffs. And I pray we don't
playoffs,
see this.
though. Playoffs,
But
not
I said, are they a
champion.
playoff team? That's what I said.
Well, this is the reason it's hard to say because Jamal naturally elevates his game in the playoffs. So if he's only the main scorer on a team in the regular season,
Yeah, we don't know.
we don't know if he's going. Does he going to step up and get
We have
his
no idea.
25
We don't
and
have any
double
idea.
in the playoffs?
And no shade. I was just thinking about it. I would say they're probably a play-in 5-6 seed at the
your
highest.
guess is good as any. Your guess would be good. I just don't.
But
have
so
any-
is Yoke's. Yoke was a 6 seed.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, so to go back to game 4, the Nuggets win that 108-95. Again, as we said, AG balled out 27, 6, and 7
He did
from the rebound.
from the
7
beginning.
rebounds.
From the beginning.
Michael Porter had 11 and 3. Jokic 23, 4, and 12. The funniest part about Jokic was they asked him in the press conference, did he know that he was like one of like 3 or 4 people with that stat line? He looks at the stat line and says 23, 4, and 12. He's like, am I supposed to be happy about 23, 4, and 12? And then someone goes 3 blocks and 3
blocks and 3 steals.
He's like, oh, he starts laughing. He's like, I mean, I guess it's just a stat line. I don't care about winning. But it's funny when I seen that 23, 4, and 12.
You mean the person that the
It was like
people
some,
think can't
it was a
defend,
Nuggets.
and his defense is not up to par?
I just think that they like to ask Jokic stat questions,
Oh.
even though he has shown for the last at least 3 years he does not care about a stat line.
No.
But
I think
they
what
love asking about
What
it.
happens is because his stats are so ungodly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's stats that no one else on the planet puts up. Young Braun used to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
players of the past used to.
Only
But
I think only people putting up stats like him is Will
no,
Chamberlain.
no, I get that. Like to
Yeah.
what he's putting
Mm-hmm.
up, that's why I'm saying it. But I'm saying like people who put up like these dumbfounding stats.
Yeah.
Sure.
Luka had 60, 20, and 10, right? I think he had that.
Mhm.
James Harden had some crazy stat lines
Sure.
as well.
Yeah.
But like, and then Braun obviously. But outside of that, it's the icons of the game. It's the Will Chamberlain.
Russell Westbrook
it's
has got some crazy stat lines too.
He has.
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
He had,
Yeah.
that,
So-
he had that rolling 60s game. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm. That was nutty. But that's the funny thing is like, so when like someone who doesn't watch them all the time or someone who's just trying to make their story work or make the narrative or shape it how it is, it's easy to be like, well, you had 23 points tonight. You know, you had 12 defensive. You had
After
12
watching
rebounds
this
and
for
all that
what?
stuff.
This is our game number. I don't know what game number it is,
This is-
but
that
we
was game
know we
4.
have 15 wins,
But
right?
but
Yeah,
I
we're
wouldn't
good
say
15.
I even say people who watch the Nuggets all the time still get swept up in the stats because they're so astronomical and unseen.
Well, you do want it. I'm not gonna even lie. There is moments where you just want them to get that last rebound. So with Jamal, when he had whatever,
Sure.
he needed that last rebound. Fans are like, let's get that last rebound.
What
do we-
wanted
we
I
even have
didn't know
a-
it was gonna be the first ever, but I knew it was probably one of few games.
But
Anyway.
we knew it was going to be a triple
Yeah,
double.
We,
Yeah,
have,
those are
we,
the
we
two
even have a
triple
name
doubles in a
for his missed triple doubles.
Yeah.
What for Jamal?
Sambo.
Oh, we have for Joker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that tells you we pay attention.
Sambo doubles.
We have
Yeah.
that tells you that we pay attention.
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
we do. No, back to Jamal and his triple double. You know what? So what? Here's what the thing. Was the game still clock on and stats being held for everyone else? Why not for Maul when he got it? You know, near the
I
end.
know. I think it's cool to Kendrick Perkins. I think it's cool to stat pad in the finals. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, you know, they asked all players. The players like, heck yeah, I would have done it. You know,
Yeah.
you asked the players because he said he earned it.
You
You earned
live-
it from years and years of playing basketball since you were little and coming up,
Yeah.
and you're in the NBA finals, and you got a chance to. All you make is like the
My
last
thing is this.
rebound. Come on.
You can't.
Come on.
If the team beats you soundly, you guys are losing by 15 at that point in the game. You can't. What are you gonna do? You guys already put your best
And not to
effort.
mention-
You guys couldn't stop him already. So the fact that he gets one rebound, you're pissed about one rebound. What about the other
No, I'm
9?
saying not to mention you can't be mad about Malone keeping his team in there when you guys have been one of the best fourth
Yeah.
quarter teams in the NBA?
Yeah.
And
too?
no, but you really watch it. They both called off the dogs. They both called out the dogs. He just kept Murray out there.
Yeah, but it was Murray and a couple others. It was like
It was Murray, Peyton Watson,
Yeah.
and Thomas Bryant.
Yeah,
it
and
was,
Kankar
it was,
probably.
Yeah, and Kankar was out there. Vlatko.
Let me say this. I didn't raise this to say I didn't agree with it. I totally agree with it. The game is still clicking. The time is on the clock. I mean, so then you don't count the final buzzer beaters that many people have had with so and so on their stats.
15.
Come on.
They're not coming back from 15 in 10 minutes. I mean, in 2 minutes or
who cares?
whatever it is. It's
In
a
that
big who
sense.
cares to me.
Yeah.
It you know what it is? It's a boo-hoo. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. You got one rebound.
It's a
at the end of
you
the
gotta
game,
find
like,
something to fuss about.
You gotta put an asterisk by it.
No.
Stop.
But
Because when you put an asterisk by it, you're neglecting the other 9 rebounds. You're
No,
just
I know.
mad that he got 1. So you guys care too much about stats on that one. Stop him, and you couldn't. This dude is balling out this
Yeah.
postseason. And if if he wasn't on the same team as Nikola Jokic, he's
earned it.
automatically the MVP.
Sure.
I think
He
okay,
is.
so we'll talk about Game 4 into Game 5. What the Heat were doing in Game 4 was literally, and this is why. So to go back to stats for 10 seconds, Jamal only had 15, 12, and 3 in that game, and largely what the Heat were doing
12
was
and no turnovers.
no turnovers. Yeah, it was a beautiful game. I'm saying
Yes.
I'm saying as far as his scoring, it wasn't high, and here's why: because the Heat were deciding to trap and double team Jamal.
Sure.
And then they would hedge the third guy to go watch Joker. That's half the reason why Aaron Gordon has 27 points.
Yeah. Bruce Brown
Bruce
could
Brown
get
had a
his.
big
Yeah.
game.
Sure.
Michael Porter was cutting and getting the easy buckets.
Yeah.
So they're trapping.
Yeah.
So do you think in Game 5, do you think that trap's coming again? They're gonna say, "Hey,
I
let
think
the
they'll
others
use
beat us
anything,
again?"
everything in the kitchen sink.
Okay.
Everything they use in any of the games prior, they're gonna use. You'll see that zone. You're gonna see the trapping. You're gonna see it all because they have to. Okay, and the thing is, what we need to do is concentrate on that 3-point line and keep them from hitting those threes. That's what we need to do because that's the only hope they have. Is to shoot as many threes as possible. Remember, that's how they won Game 2. Because before that, Coach Spo, Miami Heat's coach, said, shoot, do it, go, let them fire them up. And he encouraged them to shoot, and because that's how they're going to win against us with points wise. So we gotta chase them off the line. We gotta have our defense so that those are bad shots. If it's a 3, it's a bad shot. And so I think you're asking me how I think Miami might have a shot in this game. It's going to be to hit their 3 points.
And I'd argue that Jimmy Butler got to go for 30 plus at this point because they've tried a little bit of everything, and one thing they haven't tried is having, well, I guess I shouldn't use the word try. One thing they haven't gotten is that Jimmy Butler, like 30, 40 points.
Didn't he have like 27 in the fourth?
Yeah, he's been around that 25 number.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it because, again, in Game 5, they got 25 from Jimmy, 12
Game 4?
from 4, yeah, Game 4. They got 12 from Kevin Love, 20 from Bam, 0 from Max Strus.
For how many minutes?
19 minutes.
19.
0 points.
And then the other guy.
And Gabe Vincent had 2 points.
Yep.
Kyle Lowry had 13. Caleb Martin 11. Duncan with 12.
So I say, what were we doing to Strus and
yeah.
Vincent?
But then this is the thing about the Miami Heat and just where it comes from lack of scoring. It's like, okay, so maybe Max Strus gets 8 points and Vincent gets 11. But then now Caleb Martin might get 6.
Yeah.
Or Duncan Robinson might get 1.
Yeah.
So they're basically maxing out on scoring from their others. That's why I said it has to probably be a Jimmy Butler game if they're going to have any hopes of sending it back.
Can you look at Game 2? What did their others do there? Because they were hitting shots like you wouldn't believe.
I don't think it was okay. So the Nuggets scored 108 in that one. So in Game 2, they got 21 from Butler. They got 21 from Bam. They got 23 from Gabe.
There you go.
They got 14 from Max.
There you go.
And then they got 9 from Kyle Lowry and 10 from Duncan.
See, the others stepped up.
They just got that.
You know why?
Because
they had wide open shots in that game. They just did. That's when Malone was just furious about it.
Yeah, Gabe got 23, but that was about it. He got too many points.
But we have since then, the next couple games, the 3 and 4, game 3 and 4, we shut it down as much as we could.
You know why? Is because we realized we don't have to double team Jimmy Butler.
Right.
AG can basically guard him alone.
Sure.
If they switch, we have strong enough players that can guard him. And as long as Jimmy's not hitting threes, you're cool with him getting to the rack and shooting turnaround Jays. Even if it's like, dang, that's a tough shot. You just gotta have to chop your,
Mm-hmm.
tip your hat to them. It's still worth letting Jimmy try to go off versus having the others beat you.
Yeah.
Because others are gonna beat you by the arc.
Yeah.
That's all they do is shoot threes.
But you know what, K-Dot, I think is we've come to this right now that we don't. Yes, you worry about them. I'm not saying dismiss them or any of that, but I think if we play our game, right, the way we've been playing it with the defense, like we talked about, and all of that, we'll win because we're just the better, stronger, taller, thicker.
The home team.
And home team.
Yeah, and we got the home team crowd. That energy and whoa.
That place is gonna be a
Ball arena.
buzz city.
The whole
Get your
city's gonna
popcorn
be that
ready
way.
because
The
that
whole
is
city.
gonna be
And
insane.
I hope it's a wee bit different than last season with the Avs when they came home up 3-1 for Game 5, and they were unable to do it because they were also playing. They were playing the defending champions, who they were not going to lose that game, and Miami might put up the same effort. I just think that the Nuggets. Well, I do think the Nuggets are going to do it because I said the Nuggets in 5 at the beginning of this. I touched on Nuggets in 4, but Nuggets in 5. I think they're going to get it done. I think it's going to be buzzy, buzzy, buzzy in that arena, outside of that arena. And it's fun. It's a fun day for the Nuggets fans. It's a fun day for bandwagon Nuggets fans. It's a fun day for people betting on the Nuggets. It's a fun day for it. And anytime you see a team conquer this mountain, they've won 15 games here in these postseason. Get one more.
One
you know what I
more.
mean? That's how close they are. And I would. That's going to be probably one of the best nights in the history of Ball Arena.
I
there.
say they owe it to themselves even more
They
than
do.
they owe it to the city.
Fans, I
they
do
owe
too.
this game
Oh,
to
for
themselves.
sure,
For dropping game 2 at home, they owe it to themselves.
The city is very secondary.
You
to
know, and
this,
the other thing
to me.
I'm trying to understand this. Just logically, we rarely lose at home. I mean, I know what the record is. It's not much, and we lost already at home. I just don't. The Nuggets I've been watching, at least the last 2 games for sure, and just the whole time, they got more heart than that.
And
They
that's
got more
that's the
heart
difference
than
between the
that.
Nuggets and the Avs of last year is that these Nuggets aren't going against the defending championship.
No, they're not.
And 2, they very rarely
Yeah, they
lose
defend.
at home.
Yeah.
Even though I guess the Avs didn't lose too much at home, but it just seems like the Nuggets when
I
they
think
come
it's a
home,
different. It's
they
a
hold it
different
down.
enough.
Like,
It's a
not-
different enough situation.
We're like surprised if we lose at home.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are actually genuinely surprised when they lose at home. They
Yeah.
only lost once.
And I
all
think that's why they
playoffs.
were shocked out of their gourd that
And you
they
lose
lost
by
that,
3,
and they
you
only
played
lost by 3.
Horrific.
Yeah.
At us in the fourth.
And again-
only in the fourth too. You
Yeah.
played really bad in the fourth.
And what we just said was true. They lost by 3,
Mm-hmm.
okay, with people shooting out of their minds 3 wide open. And so if you can just nail that down, and because we've already said it, but we're going to say it one last time. We've seen this team now a lot, and we know their tendencies, and we know what we have to do to shut them down because we shut them down now twice on their home court.
Yeah,
Demoralizing.
On their home court.
came and took 2.
Okay, so we can't get one at home? Come on. That's going to close out
Can't
the
get 2 at home.
series.
No, I think the Nuggets will get it because I think 2 players, and they're not going to be the 2 that you think I'll say. I think KCP and MPJ
Yeah.
are going to have
Man,
great
can
games.
you imagine Michael Porter?
Oh,
with a really
I'd
great
love
game
that.
to end?
I would
I think
love
he'd
that.
shut up all the naysayers because he had a
Yeah.
great game 1, and that's what people have now since have
Forgotten,
forgotten
yeah.
because it's been so far away.
Yeah.
But his game 1 was one of the best performances he's.
It's not
had.
only was it far away, but it's also been like he's had some very much so bad games
No, he's
in
had some
between.
terrible games.
Well, that
Yeah.
second game, I think he had 7. One of those games, he had 7 rebounds. So
No,
he didn't do.
He's been doing different
He's doing
things.
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying as far as him being a scorer and who he is as a player,
Mm-hmm.
he's not getting guarded by no one special either. It's not like they have Jimmy Butler locking him down
No.
90 feet. He's not scoring against Max Strus. He's not scoring against Vincent. He's not scoring against Kevin Love. Those are the guys he's going against.
Well-
he owes himself a 20-point bucket game.
Well, I
For real.
think if the Nuggets gotta have a really good first quarter and get up on them, we'll never look back.
Oh, you think they're Cancunin?
I think
it's hard for a team to go 1-2-3 Cancun in the finals though. Like, I just don't see you rolling.
Especially
over
if
in the
Jimmy
finals.
Butler and Coach Spo
And Bam
Adebayo.
other round, I get you because you're like, all right, we're just not good. If you're down 3-1 or whatever, you might just be like, we're not good enough to beat this team.
Yeah.
But in the finals, it's like, what else do you might as well play hard no matter what the score is.
I
Yeah.
can see
It could be a minute left. You should be hooping.
in Kristaps' dream world, Mr. Yalik's dream world, what I would say is MPJ comes out and has one of those quarters where he has like 14.
Ooh.
That'd be
You know
good.
what I mean?
Beautiful.
KCP has
We've seen it happen to
has
him.
about 3. He has 6 because he hits 2 threes,
Yeah.
and Jokic all kind of just do their consistent stuff, right? AG does his consistent stuff, and then the second quarter, he'll probably calm down a little bit. And then have a big third quarter. So when you look at his stat line, he probably finished the game with 25 points.
Oh, my goodness.
25
He has
points.
25
That would be a
25,
breakout.
26 points.
That would be, it's an explosion. It was like bubbling in there.
If he had 25
just
points, we need to
simmering.
make a new trophy, most improved player.
Oh my God.
In the
top-
playoffs.
The top on that
finals,
pot would just
we
explode.
need to give him something, bro.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me
25.
throw a stat at you really fast. Michael Porter Jr. makes $30.9 million per season. So it's not really super surprising that if he had 26 in the finals.
No,
game.
we're not.
So
We're not talking
that's
about
that's
that.
all I'm saying is,
No, we're
and
not
he's
talking
the
about
scorer,
that.
he's the shooter. So if he comes out and he has 26 and he
Yeah.
balls out,
Yeah.
I would love that.
Or we
and
all would.
KCP has 11
Yep.
to 15 points.
Can I add a point?
Bruce Brown
Can I add
adds
a
an
point to
8 to
this?
12. I would love that.
Can
I would
I
love
add
that.
a-
I'm not wishing
yeah.
for I'm not wishing for Game 6 at Phoenix. I'm not doing that. I would rather see Game 5 versus Minnesota.
I'll give Michael Porter grace in this sense. A lot of players don't perform well in the NBA Finals. Like Tatum last year, remember,
Yeah.
their first playoffs, their first finals, it's just a different ball game.
Yeah.
We're seeing something rare from Jamal, Joker, AG, and Bruce Brown. Those are like the 4 people that have actually been consistent for these 4 or 5 games. Like if you really think about it, KCP hasn't really been scoring much. And
But his defense
even
in
though he's
game
actually been
4.
in finals before, but this is his
Yeah.
first like
That defense in
full
game 4
crowd. This is
was
full,
worth
first
every
full
bit
crowd
of it.
traveling back and forth finals
Sure.
he's ever been in.
Sure.
So he's just his defense has been amazing. But Michael Porter might just be having that the scary yips, whatever you want to call it, in the finals. So I'll give him that grace. But to our point, it's time for him to step up. He knows what a finals game feels like now.
And here, look at this one. The Nuggets in closeout games, obviously they're 3-0. Game 5 versus Minnesota, they won 112-109. Remember, that came down to the final shot that Anthony Edwards.
We started going off.
That
at
was
the
very
end.
close, and he almost tied the game in the final seconds because
Yeah.
Nuggets the whole series they just got up and kind of was like, whatever. They didn't really respect Minnesota the ways they need to be respected. Who they did respect was Phoenix. Closeout game, they won by 25.
Thank goodness.
They smacked him.
Yeah, closeout game versus the Lakers. You know how it ended with a fantastic stop by AG and Jamal with the help defense. They won by 2 in LA. So I think that this game might be more in the vein of Minnesota and Los Angeles because this Heat team, I have nothing but utmost respect. I think listeners of this pod and you two know that that I don't count them out, can't count them out because they're too gritty and they're too determined and they're too focused, and I can't let those things they're just too much to like discount. And when you're talking about this equation, so I do think the Nuggets are going to win this one, but I think it will be a 5-point game.
Yeah, I'll take your point on
somewhere within 5
that.
points.
I think the Nuggets probably won't. This won't be a blowout potentially, unless the Heat just come out flat in the first quarter and the Nuggets smack them. I really do think it's going to be more like Game 1, Game 3, and Game 4 where they are in it, and the Nuggets may get them at the end. But
We shall see.
I think that's what it's
We shall see. But
Well,
they're in good position. They're in position, and they're in great position. So let's get her done.
Yeah, last point. Who is your X Factor? Chris said Michael Porter Jr. Mom, who do you think the X Factor is for the Nuggets?
X Factor?
for Game 5.
X Factor.
Okay, when you say X Factor, I'm going to give you somebody who has to be the X Factor. And that, in my mind, it's Joker.
Yeah, I can see Joker having one of those games.
Really, with a hot take right there.
That's a hot take. That's my
Jays.
hot take. You know why? Because we got lucky and from my perspective when he got 5 fouls in the last game, and then they came in and played their butts off, and I guess when we went out we were up 10 or 11 or whatever, and we came back, they were only 1 off of what we were up when he came back in. So he is, I don't know whether you believe it or not, and I know we get tired of talking about him, but he is the linchpin. I mean, I know that he can't do it alone. You needed Murray, all that, but he's the linchpin. So my X factor has to be the consistent Joker that we know him to be. We can't have him not be that.
I'll take a flyer on this one, and I'll give a reason for it. I'll give you Jeff Green, Uncle Jeff. And here's why. You got to remember, this dude's been in the NBA for 14 plus years. He's never won an NBA championship. I think when it comes to that closeout mentality the Nuggets going to have, he may be somebody in that second unit that when there may not those might be those spurts of not playing good basketball, that he's gonna really take it upon himself to keep that momentum going. So I think Jeff Green could have a significant impact in
I totally agree with all of you guys' call.
K-Dot went out of left field, and
Yeah.
you took the obvious one on.
You know why I took the obvious one? Because Joker has minimal emotions. I mean, I know he's a joking guy, and he's how he is, and we see him. He's just, Malone says he's a goofball. He just likes to he has to have fun. Yeah, he used to have fun and stuff like that. But I never seen him as animated as I did, and when he was on that bench.
Waving the
towel,
like
pumping the fist. Let me tell you why.
That's a finals moment.
He wants this. And I think the reason why I'm calling him my X Factor is if he sees that nothing's happening and balls aren't going in for the Nuggets, he will take over and he won't care.
I have a quick question for you both.
That's why I say that, because he wants it.
Looking at the games 4 and 5 coming up, maybe 6, 7, you never know. Don't want that to happen. If necessary, asterisks above those. What would you say from this will go down as like the finals moment from this series? Like when you look at the, Giannis walking with the trophies, or the big block, or the dunk, the alley-oop dunk he had, and he looked at the camera, or Steph putting him to bed last year, or throughout the history.
Maybe
obviously the junior
That's what I
sky.
said. That's my thing. Tell me thus far.
But so far, what would you say?
That's the only thing, because it may not end up being it.
Because I think what you said, Joker pumping the towel.
Yeah.
I think that's
the coolest
something.
cinematic one. I'd say the moment that you take away from this series, if this is the last game, is definitely the 2 triple doubles in the finals. I think that's the moment. I don't know how to explain it, but that is the moment.
It's a big one. It's a big moment.
What's the visual moment? What's the visual moment?
The visual moment is so far has been Jokic doing his little fist pump on the
fist pump and the wave by towel going. The other thing too, I think is, it was when I think it was game 3. No, that was a double. Maybe it was 4. One of those games, I thought KCP hit a big 3 when they were coming back.
A big game. He said a big 3 in a couple games.
Yes.
Game 1, he hit that one right above the free throw line.
Yeah.
And then
which literally stabilized
a 3-2.
him.
And it solidified the game, and we said, okay, we're gonna win now. That's it. We needed that. It stopped the rally. It stopped this. I think sometimes it's those key impactful 3s or 2s or baskets or whatever, when you haven't had one, you get it. It's something like that would be for me.
Well, Chris, the reason I say it's hard to say because next game could be the moment. Because when Kobe jumps on, he has the ball in his hand, he puts up 5, or Jordan's doing this. Like, there's so many moments.
Don't be those.
So you're saying the moment is yet to come.
It could be.
It could be.
I think when you're talking about that cinematic, really cool moment that you look back on, it could be them 10 seconds with the clock going. Jokic finally doing something. He never
like
does.
in the women's. Like I'm going to go to the women's basketball college when Angel had the ring finger going. I mean, it could be something like that. Yeah. I doubt that anybody on our team might do that. We don't have anybody who's like that necessarily.
Nah. What's like that mean?
Oh no, I'm just saying that's going to point out. Well, just going
to talk mess to another.
Yeah, going to talk mess to the.
I don't think used to have.
Yeah,
but now he's became like such an. I know it's a little bit. And maybe national media have to catch up to this point, but Jamal has, in a lot of ways, became like an ambassador of like basketball. Because if you go, in his beginning of his career, he was cocky in people's face, he'd do stuff that was unwritten rules. But now you go watch him, like he's buddy with like everybody in the NBA. So people you didn't even know he's cool with.
Even Dylan Brooks.
He's cool with Dylan Brooks, and most people hate him. And he's yelling in Dylan Brooks' face, and Dylan Brooks daps him up laughing.
Yeah. Well, that would happen when you tear, you get an injury like he did and have to come all the way back from 0 to first,
And just being a genuine person.
Yeah, I agree with you. It may not have happened yet, so we'll see.
Remember you said you went to get a T-shirt yesterday, and Jamal.
At one of the kiosks that was on a corner, they had all the shirts out there, and I went to get a Jamal. I wanted a yellow Jamal shirt, and I was talking to the vendor, and he said, I walked up and said, I want a Jamal shirt. I want the yellow one. He said, you just missed him. And I was like, no, I didn't. And he said, yeah, you did. He was, and he was at his kiosk was right where he was on the way to practice probably or to work out, because it was not too far from Ball Arena. Mm-hmm. And so it was, and then he pulls his phone out, and then sure enough, he had a picture with Jamal. I thought that was so cool. And he was nice enough to send it to me. So thank you, Kareem. I appreciate that. I got the picture. Thank you so much.
Well, cool. Well, with that, we might as well go to the 2
minutes remaining.
2 minutes
Shout
remaining.
out to Kyle Spiller too, because he's a lifelong Nuggets fan. If they get a ring, he'll get a ring. He's an ambassador at Charlotte.
Yeah.
He's a chaplain for the Nuggets. So congratulations to Kyle Spiller. 40 plus years of being a Nuggets fan.
Wow.
And he said
Love
20
it.
plus years of doing his or 20 years or 18 years of doing his spiel as the announcer. So
Cool.
congrats to him.
If we giving out shout outs like that, shout out to Jason Kosmiski.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jerry
Nas,
Schimmel.
Schimmel.
Shout out to James Posey.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, shoot, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people to shout out.
Yeah.
So there's this funny thing going around on Twitter, and it's literally funny. Someone had said something. He's like, he said this NBA season has been the funniest NBA season of all time. Like he just like kind of said it, and since then it's been like 50 million views, like all types of comments of people just putting their funniest moment of the NBA season from I'll say mine, so I won't say it. But what has been your favorite NBA moment?
Funniest moment.
Funniest.
moment.
Well, I was thinking about this, and right off the cuff, mine's got to be when Joker won his second MVP, and we weren't in the playoffs for them to give it to him, and they went all the way over to Serbia.
Okay, so you're talking about the start of this. I'll give it to you. You're,
And that's funny to
Technically
me.
last
go
year,
ahead.
but
no,
yeah.
it's the beginning of this year, sure. Go ahead.
Is it? Okay. They went all the way over to Serbia and gave it to him, and he comes riding in on his horses and what he loves, his little Surrey. I know it's not probably something else that I'm saying it is, but a little buggy Surrey. And his face is just so shocked and so happy. And then he's hugging everybody, and I thought that was one of the funniest, wonderful moments I've seen. And so I didn't meet the parameters of your question, but that's mine.
Sure. Yeah, I'll let you go because you are you. Chris,
Yeah,
go ahead.
thank
I was gonna say thanks, Jays. You definitely kept it G-rated there because there's been a ton
I
that
know,
has
of
not
other
been
things.
G-rated. I'll just say names, Zion and others that have
But you said funny.
Yeah, I'll give you a funny moment to me. I actually had two
I
that
got
came to
some, too.
mind. John Morant's second video, his second Instagram video, made me laugh because the first one was all bad. Shotgun Willie's bringing it back to Denver. That was just chaotic. But the second one, I was like, bro, and the dude moved the camera really fast to not show jaws. It just made me laugh, even though it was not a good laugh. But
No.
it was just bad. It was like, bro,
Yeah.
think, just think,
Well,
just
see,
think.
I have to hear what K-Dot's going to say.
But I had
because-
one more.
Oh, you have another one?
And then
Okay.
the one that was actually happened on the court.
Okay,
that
that's
made
what
me
I was going
laugh.
to say. Go for it.
Was during the 60, 20, and 10 game with Luka. And remember, he had to go to the line and needed to miss the free throw.
Yes.
And he throws it off the rim. It has a perfect bounce. He gets the rebound, throws it up, ties the game,
Yes,
overtime.
yes,
He did
yes.
that little dance and did the flappy thing with the
Uh-huh.
flappy arms and was prancing around like a little kid.
Uh.
Just looked so happy and joyous, and the game meant so much to him. But it was just funny, his little dance.
Sure.
And another one I'll just throw out there really fast was when Shamit got absolutely dunked on Christmas and landed on. And when AG just
That
lands
was a
on
funny
him.
land.
That was funny.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Devin Booker and Luka when Devin Booker came over and was talking mess to him. I didn't know that. I didn't
That was
know where you
last
were going.
season.
No, was it last year?
Yeah, that was when they bounced him.
But
Well-
I thought Dallas bounced.
Oh,
him.
when they
So it was
went
this-
head to head.
yeah.
When they
Later
went
on-
head to head
yeah.
in Dallas.
Yeah, and then Luka
yeah.
missed the free throws. Or when,
Okay, because
Grant
that was retaliation for what happened in the West Conference Finals in
Or when Grant
2022.
Williams was like, "I'm gonna make both. and he goes and missed two from the free throw line.
Yeah.
There's been some classic ones. I was looking. If you go down that thread, maybe we'll put in the show notes. There's some funny moments you just have forgotten. My two, I'm gonna do one Nuggets and I'm gonna do one NBA.
Not Nuggets.
Yeah. So for the one that's the Nuggets, I have to say is the Bones Highlands one. When Bones Highlands had his whole team pressing Jamal, because remember Jamal said don't cry about something you didn't,
Oh,
you don't
don't
get
ever get- 'cause from the
the
work.
you haven't put in.
Yeah.
And he had his whole team pressing, his whole family pressing Jamal. He forced his way out of Nuggets, goes to the Clippers. Then he goes in his first press conference and says they treat you well in Clippers, and they got two superstars and Nuggets only got one. And it's funny now looking back on it because the Nuggets' two superstars are one game away from NBA.
You mean the ones who
champion.
got triple doubles in
Yeah.
one game, one finals game?
Yeah, I was like one on one hand. Even though Bones is gonna get his, he's gonna get a ring.
That's
That's
got a
actually
ring.
the double kicker. Like he gets
Yeah,
his ring.
he
so
should
it
get a
is
ring.
What it is. That's the Nuggets funny one.
Should is a big word.
Obviously,
Yeah, you should get it, though.
other
Come
Nuggets
on.
funny one is just Joker picking himself on LeBron's basketball team.
Yeah.
At the
No.
All-Star game.
Yeah, that's actually going viral
Yeah.
That's really
too.
funny too.
It's like Yoke being the last one on the
Yeah.
bench.
Oh,
It's like
with
an aerial
LeBron,
camera
yeah.
shot of him, like all the empty
Oh.
chairs
Yeah, for
of
the
where the
All-Star
starters were, and then it was just him. And it was funny. It was like Yoke. I'm misphrasing this, but it was like Jokic went from being the last pick on LeBron's team to sweeping him in the playoffs.
Yeah, right. That's what you get, LeBron. You should have picked them.
And Larry Marketing.
First.
Marketing was sitting there too. That's the other funny part. People
Yeah.
forget. And then my last one is definitely Pat Bev. Because Pat Bev, with
man.
that one is that whole moment, LeBron and
With the camera?
Yeah, and it's in Boston of all places. You got LA versus Boston. You got LeBron got fouled and just couldn't believe, like he's crying, sobbing, basically, to the point that Pat Bev goes and grabs a
Camera.
from the crowd or wherever he grabs it from, walks it over to the ref,
And he'll
and
look at it.
shows it to the ref and says, "That's a effing foul," and gets ejected.
Yeah.
Mind you, know what ref he goes and hands it to?
Mhm.
Eric Lewis. Eric Lewis, the guy with the Twitter burner that just got in trouble.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like that whole moment has a moment.
Yeah, it does.
So-
that is a whole.
Or another one that just popped in my brain is my guy Dylan Brooks. Remember when he
Oh,
dressed and
Dylan
had the
Brooks.
hair perm and had the glasses? And he was
The
doing
glasses.
and he had the white mink and he was like taking photos. Or after the game, or after in the playoffs when he was like, "I poke bears."
Yeah.
Both Bears. Yeah, there's so many.
Iconic.
Yeah. What about
It's
the 40?
truly
I ain't gonna. I
iconic.
don't need whatever. I don't have no respect for nobody till they drop
Yeah,
40
they
on me.
dropped 40 on me.
Till they drop 40 on me.
Goodness gracious.
Or just knock me out the playoffs.
Well,
with it.
I can literally say what a year, not only because it's been funny, but the Nuggets are one
It's been
game
fun.
from winning the NBA championship.
Well,
So it has been what a year.
it's
for
our
this
first year doing the pod. We knew this year was going to be special because we can prove it but we named our first one. We've said that many times, but it's just you just felt it. You just felt like it was going to be this kind of year, and I don't believe that we felt that, and we can't say that we're going to get the championship because I do say it, and I know I can say it because I've been a fan a long time, and I'm old, and I can say whatever. And I
But
think,
you're gorgeous.
oh, thank you. And I think they're going to win. So go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets, and we will be live tweeting. We might even go out into the city and eat some good food and watch
Oh, yeah.
some games on a big screen tomorrow. But you can find us live tweeting at the Just Nuggets Pod on Twitter. My name is K.Collie. We have Christoph Yalich,
Just
Uno
Janet.
mas.
Jeff Janet, and from the Just Nuggets podcast, these Nuggets.
Woohoo.
Go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets.